Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Berlin for talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The trip comes a day after Germany said it would give Kyiv weapons worth around $3 billion. The military aid package would include Leopard tanks and anti-aircraft systems. As Ukraine prepares for a counteroffensive, concerns are growing over the safety of the country's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian forces seized that plant days after the war started. Russia is now evacuating a town near the plant amid ongoing attacks in the area. Earlier, I spoke to the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi. He says he's concerned about the threat of an accident. Mr. Grossi, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
I want to start, I guess, with what's happening in the Zaporizhzhia region. Russia is evacuating people living in those 18 settlements around the region. What does that indicate to you, and how concerned are you that there is a real danger of a nuclear accident there?
Well, as you know, we are concerned, and we have been concerned for a long time,
yes,
since the occupation of the plant, and we have been trying to do whatever we can to protect it. The thing now, of course, is that when orders for evacuation come, well, this is an indicator of something either being planned or coming, which of course is an additional layer of concern for what we are seeing, with the added factor, which is important for the audience maybe to understand, that, well, any evacuation is, of course, a source of preoccupation, concern, and suffering for those affected. But in this case, in particular, there is a nuclear safety dimension, because this village, is only a few miles, 5 kilometers from the plant, and in fact it is the place where the staff of the plant, yes, and the families live. Almost everybody in this tiny village town is in one way or the other related or working at the plant. So the moment you start moving people out, it is obvious that, number one, it's either staff, which is not going to be going to work, or families of staff, right, which of course has an additional psychological or whatever impact, in the well-being of the staff. So we are very concerned.
Let me ask you, you had discussed at one point during this conflict creating some sort of safety zone around Zaporizhzhia, and hoping, I guess, that both sides would do their best to maintain that zone. What happened to that idea? Was it
Let
just
me clarify
tenable?
something.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, let me clarify, because it's important. We have been, of course, looking into the possibility of having like a protection zone, whereas both sides coincide on the need to, or the advisability of protecting it. The idea of a zone, hence territoriality, in the current conditions is more difficult, because you are in an active combat phase. So when I talk to the military, I talk to the diplomats, to the nuclear people, and to the military as well, as you can imagine, Russian and Ukrainian.
Yes.
So for any military commander in a war zone to be told that there is a zone where they cannot go or move, etc., they don't like it. They don't want it. So what we are doing now is working on certain basic principles. Basically, don't shoot at the plant.
Yes.
Or don't use the plant as a military base, yes, which should be observed by all. And I have multiplied my contacts and my negotiations with both sides to try to get them to this. But I would say, focus, have a laser focus on what I need to achieve, which is the safety and the security of the plant. And I have to try to put forward ideas which are not giving any military advantage to anybody.
Yes, right.
And are solely exclusively concentrated on avoiding an accident, because it's obvious. It's common sense, isn't it?
Yes.
The moment that one side believes that this measure is going to favor the other side, they are going to oppose it.
The fact that there is a counteroffensive being prepared by Ukraine, obviously, one side or another prepares a different offensive, but that's what we're expecting from Ukraine. Does that concern you, that things are about to get more intense, likely?
Well, I am concerned that the war continues and there is military activity. I would again, and you may understand, I have to weigh my words very carefully, because I don't want to pronounce myself on military decisions.
Understood, yes.
But I'm telling everybody, and this is perhaps the message, and I'm telling you and your audience in the same way, perhaps, that I address my counterparts. Whatever you are doing, whatever your aims and goals are, you don't need to create a nuclear accident. It's not necessary. So I hope this is understood. I hope that everybody, because if we have a nuclear accident, this will not recognize uniforms or flags. And it's going to add to the enormous suffering and misery of the people there, this added element that is going to have ripples and reverberations all over the world. I'm sure people in Canada will be worried. Canada is a country that is a world leader in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy.
Yes. Let me ask you a couple of questions about Iran since you're here, because I know that at the beginning of March you were in Iran after a report by your organization found enriched uranium particles, which were close to what is needed to produce an atomic bomb. You met with the head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, the president, the foreign minister. What reassurances did you get from Iran about what they are doing and what they are restricting, I guess, in terms of development?
Yes. Well, this is a very good point. You know that this issue of Iran is compounded with the problems or the situation around this famous JCPOA. I mean, the agreement that the Iran had with the permanent members of the Security Council plus Germany, coordinated by the EU. So everything is intertwined in one way or the other. And we have seen both sides, drift apart more and more.
Yes.
And Iran multiplying its activities. And of course, when we lose and when we lost the JCPOA, or about to lose it, we also lose a lot of verification, visibility that my agency used to have.
Right.
So we know less. Doesn't mean that we do not know everything. We are there. We continue to perform inspections, but on a reduced regime. So the objective of this trip that you referred to was to start a de-escalation of sorts, where Iran would restrain from doing certain things and would allow the agency to gradually regain some of its monitoring capabilities. And this is what we have achieved. So I believe that the trip and the agreement I had at the beginning of March was useful. It doesn't achieve everything we would like to, but it's a step in the right direction, and this is what we are doing now.
Do you see a future where the Iran deal, which is how it's also known, where that comes back, where that would be able to be renegotiated, or have we moved past that right now?
Well, the jury is still out, but the prospects of a swift return to the JCPOA as we once knew it are, quite low at the moment. Still, what's important is to keep the interaction. Probably, there could be a return to the negotiating table. But if the interactions between Iran and the agency are seen or assessed as bad, and the cooperation is not good, the chances are zero. So I think we all have to gain, starting with the Islamic Republic of Iran, by working constructively.
Mr. Grossi, so nice of you to make the time for us. Appreciate it very much, sir.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you very much.